navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all our South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I am joined virtually by the one and only Sharon McNamara, broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate. Hello, Sharon.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, yes. Woke up on the boat this morning. We haven't done a virtual show in quite a long time.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while. I even told Julia, I was like, I don't even remember how to do it anymore. It's been so long.
Clearly we don't, because I have two different headphones on right now, listening to the studio and listening to StreamYard.
Yeah. So. But we'll get through it. We're powering through it. Yes, we are live on social media, so be sure to follow Boston Connect Real Estate on Facebook, McNamara Horton Group, Sharon Costa McNamara. We're on LinkedIn as well, live on YouTube. So we're waving. Hello. Sharon's on the phone with WATD, but you can still text WATD at 781-837-4900. Again, that number is 781-837-4900. And you can leave
and we still have room for another caller on the line. Oh yeah, come on now. Wow. You really think this is an operation where we just have one phone line? Come on now.
I don't know.
Melissa, how long have you been doing the show for? Come on.
I'm still living in the ages of, you get a busy tone sometimes.
No. We can put on somebody else on the phone.
Oh,
no problem.
Perfect. Well, let's test that out. We want someone to call 781-837-4900. So Sharon is virtual, so you can see her. You can see the boats in the background. Beautiful sun behind you.
I thought I'd give you a little shot of that.
Yeah, perfect. So, so you are doing a little getaway for this weekend, but of course we have the show, so here you are. And what are we going to be talking about today?
Yeah, so I thought that this would be a good topic it's weird that I feel like we're rounding out the year already, but we are. And, I thought that this would be, I love the title, by the way, that I came up with, which is Home for the Holidays. So talking to people sort of about timeline, about, can you get into your home that you want, your dream home, by the time the holidays come around, and whether that's maybe Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, whatever it is, sort of talking a little bit about the strategies to make sure that that will work for you. So basically it comes down to a lot of our shows combined into one, like be prepared, and you should be able to get that done so long as some inventory comes on the market. And if you are thinking about selling your home, definitely some things that you should be doing, in the next couple of weeks minimally to get yourself on the market, so those people who do want to be home for the holidays will be able to do that. And Mel, another big part of that too is, if you are thinking about selling, I know that a lot of clients will say, I'm going to wait until after the holidays. And I always think that isn't the best course of action. I think that, especially if you have one of the higher priced homes in the area on the South Shore, we tend to get a lot of relocation people that do come into our city. Boston is a hub for education and medical technology. What did I say? I said education, finance, and what was the other one that I said?
Technology,
health,
medical.
Health. Yeah,
health.
Medical.
Okay.
Yeah, health. So, we're a big hub for that. So there's a lot of transition with jobs that usually will come at the end of the year, preparing for the new year. So, when relocation clients come in to our area, they are what I call fast and furious. It's like being on Pitocin, right? They just come in, they look at houses that weekend, usually make the decision, and then there you go. So definitely. And I remember giving that advice to one of my clients a few years ago, and they were going to, I don't know if it's a me thing, but I love when my clients take my advice and it works out. So,
isn't that nice?
Yeah, I love when I give them advice and I'm proven right on that, not wrong. But that's exactly what happened. They had one of the higher priced homes in, Pembroke, and they thought, oh no, we should just wait until after the holidays. And I said, oh no, I think you should do it before. Who came in, a relo, and that's who ended up purchasing the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we always have to talk about that when we do a show about, whether it's buying or selling during the holidays or at the end of the year, beginning of the years. We always talk about relos and just coming into our area from out of state or wherever they may be coming from, because they're the ones that are scooping them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about today in our first segment of our show is just understanding the market cycles before the holidays. So, and again, this is a really good topic that I would love to get some interaction with some of our listeners with. I know that it's busy out there now that sports have started back and everything, but we love to hear from you. 781-837-4900 is our number at the studio, and Tim will gladly pipe you through. When I talk like that, when I say that, I feel like, do you remember, oh, you're too young, that cartoon, and I'll gladly pay you a hamburger on Tuesday, or can I have a hamburger today?
I know Wimpy. Come on.
Wimpy.
I think she was talking to me. I'm too young.
Oh.
Well, I think you're both too young. Are you kidding me?
No. I've seen reruns. Granted, I didn't see the original one, but I still saw the good cartoons when I was a kid.
Yeah, you remember his name. I couldn't even remember his name. A hamburger today, and I'll gladly pay you on Tuesday.
Yes.
So understanding the market cycle before the holidays is really important, too. And what are your views on that, Mel?
Well, I think in the fall, I think we see sort of a dip in listings. And I think that is exactly what you said earlier in the show is, people get a little bit nervous about putting their house on the market during the holidays because it can be disruptive. It can be, but it also doesn't have to be, so it can be sort of on your terms and, we're going to do an open house, and just the way that the things have been going accordingly, it's going to go pretty quickly. So I don't know about any, too many disturbances during, that time. Possibly if it sits on the market and you have private showings, over the past couple weeks or anything. But like I said, if it's priced accordingly, it generally goes pretty quickly. And I just think that with the low inventory, there's always going to be buyers. So there's always going to be somebody who is interested in your house, again, if it's priced accordingly.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I think that's really important too is, you hit upon it, that people are worried about the disruption and, how is that going to work for me if I'm trying to sell my house during the holidays and I'm entertaining. And, I vividly remember last year going to somebody's house and they're like, you're going to have to excuse what the house looks like because I already have my table set for Thanksgiving, and they extend this table like into a certain room. And at that time, I was just there to do the CMA. So I do a CMA sort of in 3 stops, right? Like once on the phone, we talk a little bit about it. Then when I go the first time, just to sort of look around and, I'm not looking at we went to someone's house this past weekend and they were worried that the house was a mess. And it's funny because I don't see it, even if there is one. Mm-hmm. We tend to be looking at like windows and doors and crown molding and, appliances and counters and stuff like that. Yeah. But the nice thing about, when you do put your house on the market, and we probably will do another show because we do it every year as we do get closer to the holidays, is, tips and tricks for, when you do list your house during those times. But the nice thing is during that time, there aren't as many disruptions as you would think, because there are not as many looky-loos, and I think that you were sort of hinting onto that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the serious buyers are always looking for a house. So all of the serious buyers out there, home buyers, that didn't get their offer accepted, you have to remember, we're still in this crazy place where a lot of the country is not, with multiple offers, and, we're starting to see that sort of slow down a little bit. I mean, going to some of them, 15 offers on some, but maybe just a couple or one on some others, right?
Yeah.
So, those buyers who haven't been able to succeed, those are the ones that will still be around, and they'll still be looking, because I think that their buyer's agents are going to be telling them the same thing. Like, don't give up your home search during the holidays, because the one could come on the market. And I know that a lot of buyers will say that, oh, I'm going to wait until after the holidays because I think in the spring more houses are going to come on the market. Well, guess what? That's true. But there's also a lot more buyers on the market, and now you're competing with everybody.
Yeah, I think, truly, I think that the longer somebody waits, the more competition that they have. I mean, there's not an exact science of, okay, on this date of the year, there's the least amount of buyers out there, so you're gonna have the best amount, like the best opportunity. That it just doesn't work like that. People decide to buy and sell every single day for multiple different reasons. So there's just not an exact science. But, with trends like this, where they generally are larger, so some people, some buyers, stop during, holiday seasons based off of things that are going on in their life. But the ones that are staying in it and working through that whole winter time, they're the more serious ones, and they're, motivated and committed to finding something, and generally it happens pretty quickly. With the spring, everyone always says like, oh, spring's the best time to sell. Well, I don't necessarily agree that. I think the right time to sell is when you're ready, and the right time to buy is when you're ready as well. So, people just have this mindset of like, oh, it's got to be the spring. It's the spring. It's the spring. And okay, well, that's when everybody else is. So when you're selling, you have the most amount of competition as well. So people have more options to see it.
Yeah, and I think that people think, oh, well, my yard looks the best. The flowers are blooming. And we've done shows like this. I think just recently we did, this is why if you are thinking about selling, and you start the interview process now if you're interviewing several agents, and, choose your agent, and that agent will be working with you, like that's what I said to somebody that I had, somebody that was in the office that popped into the office, and I went and looked at their home, and honestly, like I sort of talked them out of selling some. They have some land, and I sort of talked them out of it, and that's where I am in my, it's like, oh yeah, a real estate agent helps you with your home dreams. It's like, well, stop the fluff. Like, my job is to give you the best information as the knowledge broker in this area, to give you the tools, resources, data that you need to make the best decision for you. And during that process, I will be very honest and transparent with people. Hey, yes, I would love to be the agent that you choose to list your home and your properties. However, if I were you, I don't think that I would do that.
Yeah.
So what was I was going to say something you were talking about. Oh, so everybody thinks it's spring. So take pictures now. Call, have that agent that you're, the agent that you're working with, and, get the photography done now before there's snow on the ground, before all the leaves fall, before all of that. I mean, the fall is a beautiful time for people to be taking pictures. So that would be my advice for people. And then it's interesting because as you were talking, I was like scribbling a little note for myself over here. When we were in the office this week, and that's what I love about our office too, when the agents are all around, it's like, I don't know, we talk about other things, but like we always go back to real estate. And one of the things that we said is, for all the buyers who were waiting for the rates to drop and to continue to drop and to continue to drop and to continue to drop, those are the people who are now renting. So, and they're stuck in like a year lease, and I know that we're hearing that conversation that the rates potentially are going to drop again, and potentially they will. That's when you talk to your loan advisor and your mortgage advisor, but don't wait for things like that in order to make your decision. Like, oh, I'm not going to look at houses right now. I'm going to wait for the rates to drop, because as we can see, rates can quickly go up, and it was of looking for a house. I mean, that was tough.
Yeah, I would, even in a year and a half I was looking, it fluctuated from 4.5% to 7 up to 8 almost, just in the year and a half that I was looking. So, it definitely changes. And I think we talked about this the other day, is that, I don't know if it was on the show or maybe just in the office during one of the discussions, but with my home purchase, my buying power fluctuated about $100,000.
100,000. Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say that. Not my story to share, so I'm glad you did.
Through my journey, and that's based off of the interest rate. So that's fluctuating between the 4.5% to 8%. And of course there's different avenues you can go down, and different loan programs and all that stuff. And we can do a show with Jasmine about all that soon, but it is. And I think we probably talked about it when we were emphasizing how important it is to have open communication with your loan officer, and then being open with your buyer's agent as well, because you don't ever want to be looking at something that you can't afford and fall in love with that.
Exactly. And the thing, and we always go back, I feel sad as someone who loves you dearly, that, you had to go through, that was tough. I mean, that was really emotional, that whole process, buying a house. So it actually made us better at what we do, because we were so close. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think sometimes as real estate agents, especially being in the industry as long as I have been, and Mary, my team member, of course, being in it very, very long time, with 12, 13 years, I think that it's not that we get numb to it, but it's almost like when you go to the doctor and, the little boy comes in with the broken arm. Well, the orthopedic doctor is like, yep, it's another broken arm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, for us, but then, well, I bet you it's different. And that's probably why, the doctors who work in ER, and I don't know if this is true, but this is what I think I heard on Grey's Anatomy, that, like, if somebody who just wheels in the ER, it's like, if you're related to that person, it's like, no, you can't be near, you're not working on that person, because you're too emotionally connected, right? Yeah. So with the emotional connection that we have to you, because, for me, I feel like you're one of my daughters, right? Yeah. And, to see you go through that process was hard, but now I'm looking back, it didn't happen to us, it happened for us, and it makes us stronger at what we do for our other clients. But Mel, I think one of the great things, because when was your closing date last year?
November 20th.
Right, so you were home for the holidays. So
I was home for the holidays.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But let me just finish this one thought though, and then and I'll let you take over, because this is important pieces. You were changing your price range as you were changing, and this is a mortgage show, but sorry. You were changing your price range as the rates were changing. However, you're in such a great place right now, because you didn't give up looking at homes during the holiday, like as the holidays were approaching. You just fluctuated what you could owe, and now you're probably, and if you're not, you should be, and again, not my story to share, so in conversation with Jasmine Glasgow from Maritime Mortgage, to refinance, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If those rates drop.
Yeah, we've been in open discussion about that. She said that I'm going to be your best friend. I'm texting you all the time, and we're, catching up quite frequently, and just, making sure that we pull the trigger at the right time for me. And yeah, I mean, I was home for the holidays. Because I had a little bit of work to do on my house, I did, I moved in, so I closed November 20th, and I ended up moving in, I think, December 17th or something, with, the help of the McNamara family and Mary and Sam Horton. Yeah, Mary and Sam Horton. But yeah, I remember going, I remember going Christmas Eve to the Bloomin' Place to see if they had a little Christmas tree because I was like, oh my gosh, it's my first home. It's my first holiday. I need something. And they didn't have anything like super small, but as I was leaving, there was a little, literally a little Christmas tree in a little red stand. And it didn't have a price tag on it. So I asked the guy, I said, how much is this? And he goes, for you, it's free. And I go, oh, no, please. I want to buy it. And he was like, no, please take it. And I was like, well, thank you so much. I just bought my first home and, I didn't have a Christmas tree. And he's like, oh my gosh, you are definitely getting it for free. So, so yeah, my little Charlie Brown Christmas tree and, it stayed up a little bit too long. But,
that just actually made me cry. Like, oh my gosh, and I sounded like Aisha from Below Deck right there. What was that all about?
Yeah, so shout out to the Bloomin' Place. They provided my Christmas tree for my first year in my house.
Bloomin' Place, yeah, they're awesome over there. We have purchased all of our plantings over at the Blooming Place in Pembroke. So if you're looking for, it's just family business and they're just so great. And if you are ever driving by my office in Pembroke Center across from CVS, you'll see the beautiful hydrangeas that we have. And oh my gosh, the hydrangeas this year. And we planted them, 3 years ago, I think. And then I kept on saying to Mark, I can't wait until they're big enough to peek up over the rock wall that we have. Gosh, we got some, but we digress. So again, you're listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Sharon McNamara, the broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate. And of course, I'm a full-time real estate agent. My partner is Mary Horton from, we are the McNamara Horton team, group, whatever the heck we are, with Melissa Wallace, who is our director of operations. And she is our liaison for all of our agents at the office. And she is my co-host here on Saturdays, and she'll be doing a few more shows on Tuesdays because there will be a big announcement about that. 781, 837-4900, 781-837-4900. If you have any questions for us regarding this topic, home for the holidays, if you are considering buying or selling a home during this time and you have some hesitations, definitely give us a buzz. We'd love to talk you through that. And if you have another question for us, well, we love real estate, so you can just let us know what that is. Tim has also access to text messages, so if you don't want to talk to us on air because you're bashful, 781-837-4900. And, of course, we're on all the social media venues, so we can see your questions when you type them in there. One of the things that we were just talking about, and I don't know if I cut you off because you know my memory, but, when you were talking about this earlier, too, and a lot of times people will say they don't want the disruptions, right? And they don't want the disruptions because it's at the holidays, right? They have their stuff there. They don't want to do that. That's the other thing, too, is definitely have your photos taken before your tree goes up or, any of your your pictures, certainly. So it's always good to have that done beforehand. But people worry about the disruptions because of the holidays, and we have this, we have that, we have stuff all over the place. Well, I think a lot of people also don't like to do it in the winter months. Let's not just talk about the holidays, but they don't like to do it in the winter months. And right now, from my lips to God's ears, we haven't had a terrible winter in a while, so I'm hoping that's the same for this year, and we don't get much snow. But people are worried about tracking in snow and, the weather, and we do these shows. So if it won't be today, but today is a good hint of other shows we will be doing because, if it does, how many times it does snow the day of an open house, As real estate agents, we can't be responsible to be, the one to shovel. He who holds the shovel last owns the lawsuit. So, we can't do those types of things. But you have less interruptions, and we have ways to combat that. We put signs up that please remove your shoes. Here are some booties. We have a box of booties there. Please put booties over your shoes. I prefer the booties over bare feet. And that's me, but whatever.
I know why, but
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can use your five senses with that one.
Yeah, but this year, this time of year, a lot of people do not wear socks. So if people aren't wearing socks and you have hardwood floors, honestly, different people have, a lot of people have, like the oil from our skin is just enough to sort of put footprints all over the place. So that's why I prefer the booties, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I think, there's so many different factors and, and especially with preparing. So if you're thinking about putting your house on the market, it's doing the pictures, but also, being aware of your decor, and, being very holiday specific because, if you put pictures up with, all your Halloween decorations and your home is still on the market after New Year's without an accepted offer, it is going to look like your house has been on the market since since October. And so just being very aware of sort of that decor and how it's being presented, because you don't get a second chance at a first impression.
I love that line.
So that's what I have to say about the decor.
Yeah, and one of the things too when it comes to the timing as well is, some could argue like, will my house stay on the market a little bit longer, during those months? Perhaps, but perhaps not. Like I would love to run some data on that. I'd love to run some data on that just to see, is that actually true or not? Because it maybe in certain areas it's true, but I just think right now we have low inventory where we are, that serious buyers will still buy. I mean, let's face it, your house was on the market last year during this time of year. I mean, well, actually, it was November. When was it? October?
Yeah, it went live in October.
It went live in October, and there were, 15 offers on it?
24.
So, 24 offers on it. Boy, my memory is bad. I should call a doctor.
You said it, not me.
But they all meld together sometimes, But with 24 offers, well, that's a strong indicator that there are buyers out there during that time of year. So I don't necessarily believe that. I think that that's what a fear is that people would have. Again, the motivated people are out there for that. But the good thing about that is, if less homes are being sold during that year, you have full undivided attention of the loan officers and the appraisers and the home inspectors. So if there are less sales, I'll agree with that there are probably less sales at the end of the year because there are less people on the market. But everybody else, all those other industries that we're sort of related to, the attorneys, everybody, they have more time too, and things will get done quicker.
Yeah. I think, but I also believe that you have to be a little bit more aware of your timeline as well. Because things are sort of fast, I always feel like it's sort of fast and furious when you get towards the end of the year. So it's holiday after holiday after holiday, and then people are traveling and going on vacation or last minute things. And of course you have the motivated buyers, you have the motivated sellers, the relocation buyers that are coming in. So I would just be a little bit more aware of, when you're doing your offer or purchase and sales, just being aware of the timeline and how it lines up with, I closed the week of Thanksgiving. I really wanted November 22nd as my closing date, but I chose November 20th because it was 2 days before, and it was, I think 4 or 5 days before Thanksgiving. So it was a little bit more time. I gave a little bit more time for the seller. But, I had to be aware and courteous of like, okay, I can't close a day before Thanksgiving. That's not fair for everybody. So I had to be aware of that. So again, just being a little bit aware of all of the things, not everybody is available the day after Thanksgiving. Not everybody is available this day. So being aware of your timeline and making sure that you're on top of that as well. I mean, it's always important to be on top of your timeline and making sure that you're meeting deadlines. But again, with everybody's ever-changing schedules sort of towards the end of the year, you should be aware of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's really important for us as real estate agents, and I'm glad that you mentioned that too, is, we actually went, I've been doing a lot of trainings in the office lately with our agents, which has been actually a joy to do, and making them very collaborative and, coming up with these different things. And I love when you talk, it makes me think. But, the thing, I've asked our agents to, the big thing right now is, as buyer's agents, showing your value, and as listing agents, showing your value, and being able to let people understand that. And I think that, we've always done a really good job of showing our seller clients what our value is, because we sit with them, we have presentations with them, we show them our marketing plans, we show them, all the things that we've done. With buyers, we tended not to do that as much. Our agents, for the most part, always have. We've all have buyer presentations where we are explaining the process. But one of the things I did ask our agents to do is a time audit, and to really time how much time they're spending with their client. Hey, I want to go see a house. Well, to them, that's a word, that's a sentence. For the agent, it's looking it up, calling the agent, making the appointment, calling the agent, doing all those things. My point of that is the things that we do that you probably don't fully recognize that we are doing. So if somebody was putting an offer in with me and we were getting close to Thanksgiving, I would be looking at Thanksgiving, and I would say, okay, just so you know, chances are, like you did, right? You were being polite and courteous. That's strategic in your planning, because you cared for the seller.
Yeah.
But it's also understanding, hey, the attorneys, everybody is, the loan officers, everybody involved is probably going to, have the day off before Thanksgiving, or minimally a half day. So when we're picking our dates, like you have this much time to do a home inspection, it's almost like I cross those dates off in my head, that I'm not going to count those. It's almost like those days don't count because, we're taking a break. And with the closing, as we're getting closer to the end of the year too, and again, living in New England, you never know what that weather is going to be or what it's going to bring. I always prefer to do a closing on a Wednesday or Thursday, so sort of, coordinating that with the, what the holiday is. And my reason for wanting to do the closing on a Wednesday or a Thursday, it's so if we do have a big snowstorm or a blizzard comes through or something like that, it gives us a hiccup day or two.
Yeah. I see with mine, I definitely would have. So if I had done the 22nd, it would have been a Wednesday. So it was the day before Thanksgiving. So that just didn't work. I knew that it was just not going to work. So because I was closing the week of Thanksgiving, I chose Monday. But typically, a Wednesday or Thursday closing, because it gives you a little bit of a hiccup day. But again, being aware of the week that I chose to close, not everybody is available. So, had to adjust it to make sure that it worked for everybody, not just me. But I mean, the same goes for, even in December, there's so many different holidays that people celebrate, that time of the year, that being aware of sort of who's in your transaction and if it works for everybody. Just being courteous.
And I think too that that's the importance of a really good buyer's agent as well, is making sure that agent should know that, hey, call the listing agent on the property and just ask, hey, I just want to be courteous of your client's timeline. I know we're getting close to the holidays. Are there any specific dates or anything that you would like us to avoid? They are going to do a home inspection, but maybe they have company coming into town. You know what I mean? It's one thing to disrupt yourself, but then to disrupt, your company. So from a buyer perspective, I think that puts you in a better light, that your agent is actually taking the time to be courteous, like Melissa just said, and calling the other agent and saying, hey, what works best for your seller? Or maybe the seller is going out of town for the week, you know what I mean? And that would be the perfect time to be doing it. Hey, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, just want to let you know, like, my client is going to be away for, the holiday. That would be the ideal time if you could put your home inspection during that time, Home inspection is one thing, but then like signing purchase and sales agreement, everything can be done virtually now and electronically signed. So for the most part, it doesn't matter where you are. I bet you right now, like that astronaut, those two astronauts that are floating up around in the universe,
could buy a house.
They could sign documents right now.
Well, you made me laugh because I signed my purchase and sales I was at a Bruins game, and I'm sitting there with my friend Jess. It was a birthday present to the both of us. We tend to do that every year, so we like to do something instead of giving each other gifts. And I just remember sitting there. I had my boot on because I had fractured my ankle. And I'm sitting there, she's cheering, and I'm sitting there, hold on, I have to sign a purchase and sales. And I did it virtually on my phone at the Bruins game, and I'll never forget that.
Did the Bruins win?
They did win. Yeah.
Yay!
They did win. So, that's a night to remember. So, yeah, you can sign it virtually no matter where. So, you go on vacation, you can still sign it.
I love that when that's an excuse sometimes. It's like, well, I'm sorry, my client is out of the country. All right, well, your client could be floating around up in those two astronauts. Like I said, they could be signing stuff right now. So,
yeah.
So, what other things were we going to discuss on that? Again, I'm going to give the phone number one more time. I know we always get our callers about 5 minutes before we're finished here. 781-837-4900. That is Tim's phone number. And at the studio, you can text him, you can call him, or you can go onto any of our social media platforms. I believe we're on Sharon Costa McNamara. If you are my friend on Facebook, feel free to watch us there. You can go to Boston Connect Real Estate on Facebook and Instagram as well. And we're also on YouTube. So I like to watch Melissa on Tuesdays when she usually has one of our agents as her guest and co-host. I like to watch from home on my TV, and I bring up YouTube on my TV, and I put in Boston Connect TV, and boop, up it comes. So you can also watch us there, and you can send us messages. We'll see them where we are.
Yeah. Okay, timing your home purchase for the best deals. Do you feel like there is a time frame that that buyers would get the best deal?
I don't.
Yeah,
I really
me
don't.
neither.
I mean, I don't. I think, let me tell you a couple different things. And one of them that I want to go back, and I don't know where this would have fallen into our agenda, but, when it comes to, the motivation, and again, this is part of your question too, is I think the motivation of the seller and the motivation of the buyer is really what's determining when that best time is, right? So when that house pops up, it might be the one. A house could come on the market on, Pond Street, and you grew up on Pond Street, so that has meaning to you, right?
Yeah.
So like you're willing to pay for it, or maybe the situation with the home being on the market. Maybe mom or dad is now in assisted living, or mom or dad has passed, and the family home has to be sold. That's a show I would love to do, though. I'm in the process of something right now, and I realized it's the emotions. Taking the emotions out of selling your home, I think, is really important. So that's a good show that we should do. Maybe we should do that one next Saturday, Mel. I'd love to hit on that. But some of the things that you have to think about is when you if you have one of those homes and you have one of those properties, and again, I've been telling everybody, talking to our listeners here, saying a big portion of my real estate business right now is working with people who are making those next chapter decisions, whether it's selling mom and dad's house because of, being in an assisted living or passing away, or snowbirding, or, just right sizing. But you have to sort of put into your mind, hey, if I'm going to snowbird, I'm going to go down for, 3 months. And then when I get back, I'm going to put the house on the market. You think about the cost to maintain that property. That is motivation. So if you do get into a property, if you are a buyer and there's a house on the market, and that is the situation where, they don't want to have the carrying costs, to hold a house 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, the motivation of the seller maybe to take something that isn't full price.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that goes down to the buyer's agents asking the correct questions. But that's something for you to think about as a seller. If this house took, the carrying cost of this house with taxes, and you don't want to shut it down, like, winterizing it, so you're heating it and making sure that it isn't freezing. What if the water heater goes? All of those things, how much is that going to cost you every month? At the end of the day, maybe it just makes sense to put it on the market now.
Yeah. I feel like timing it's everything. And, whatever your motivation is to sell or whatever your motivation is to buy, timing is everything. So I believe that everything happens the way that it's supposed to, and happens when it's supposed to. And I believe that with real estate too. So, whatever your motivation is to sell, there's always going to be a buyer. Whatever the motivation is to buy, there's always going to be a seller.
Yeah, absolutely. And too, I'm super happy that the way that everything worked out for you. I mean, honestly, it's a benefit for me because you're a mile, not even maybe one direction, and Mary's a couple miles the other direction. So as Mark and I grow old, you guys will be taking care of us. There you go.
There we go. Yeah, I know you're right in the middle of us. It's funny because I was thinking about it the other days, and I was thinking about it. I forget what you said a little while ago, but it popped into my head. And, in September of last year, I was feeling defeated and I was feeling not so motivated anymore. There was a house in Kingston, I think it was, that, I was just discouraged after I didn't get it. And I was like, at what point am I going to get a house, And it's funny because I saw like a medium type thing, and it had nothing to do with buying a house or anything. And I just remember sitting there and, he was like, I'm a little unconventional. And I was like, well, isn't this whole thing a little unconventional? But, and he he's like, I just throw some stuff on a board and I just sort of talk about like where things lie. So, and then all of a sudden he's just like, you need to manifest orange. You need to manifest reds and orange to light a fire in your life. You need something. You need a new spark. You just bring orange into your life, red into your life. And 2 weeks later, I had an accepted offer on an orange house. So, it was just like the timing was so, and of course I'm like connecting everything back to that, but I was like, the timing was right for me, but I had gotten to the point in my home purchase journey that I was just feeling very discouraged, but I didn't give up. I didn't want to, because that was my goal and I wasn't going to let that go. So, my suggestion and my advice for anybody who might be feeling discouraged is you're not going to get anything if you don't continue to try to find it. And that pretty much goes with everything in life. But, you're never going to get it unless you sort of go for it and you just keep putting in those offers. And yeah, it's discouraging. And I was too emotional about it because I was getting emotionally attached to everything. But it was my life and it was my savings. And those were things that were important to me. And I worked so hard. And all of you buyers are working so hard to get to that goal. But you don't get there unless you continue on with the journey.
And stop calling your house orange. It's like it's a rock. It's like a
Some
burnt
people think it's pink.
Something.
I'm like, what? No, yeah, I know. It's like a terracotta, like burnt orange red thing. Yeah. So, but yeah.
All right. What other things? I just heard our 10-minute bell. I was like, wow, that went by truly so fast. I don't know if it's because of my location, and I'm enjoying this a lot today. I had to move because the sun was so hot on the back of my head.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. So what other things do we want to discuss? I'm looking through our agenda here. And it's funny because...
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. I would just want to say, in preparing for relocation buyers, what do you tell your sellers and what do you tell your buyers that are relocating?
So with my sellers, like I said, it's so interesting because Julia does a great job in doing our agenda, and I tend not to follow it, but I feel like everything we've talked about is on the agenda, so that's good. That must mean that we know what we're talking about. So for relocation, as I said earlier in the show, I do think it's really important for people, to as a seller, to really, really think about, those relocation buyers coming in. And the thing with the relocation buyers, they come in, it's fast, they make their decision, they go, the process is quick, it's fast. But that means you should really, really, really have your home prepared for that, because when they go out and they look at 3, 4, 5 houses, they're just picking one. So they're picking the one that's going to suit their needs best. And again, you have to keep in mind, a lot of times these relocation buyers, they're, the C-level executive that is, getting a job. They'll be maybe here for 3 years, maybe somewhere else for 3 years. You know what I mean? So they're very nomadic in their home journeys. And they usually swoop in and swoop out. We want to know, and they do it in times of periods too, where, a lot of it happens at the end of the year, where if they do have children and they're on school vacation, that it's a great time for their kids to start the new place, you know what I mean, and the new school after, the holiday break. But I would say if you are thinking about it, now is the time to do it. And honestly, I understand how much of a journey this is to get your house prepared, because, with my dad moving into the nursing home, Mackenzie, my youngest, moving to Dallas, I have a lot of everybody else's stuff at my house right now.
Yeah.
And it is sort of driving me crazy. And I have to sort of go through some stuff because Mackenzie's like, I don't want any of that stuff. And then I'm the one who's like, well, wait a second. I paid a lot of money for some of that stuff. So let me see what I can do, repurpose and all that. I understand that task can be daunting at best. One of the things that I've started doing, even with myself, it's like, all right, I fully realize now, like, these pants that I haven't fit into for 10 years are never going to fit me. They're probably back in style at this point, but they're not going to fit me. They're not going to fit this woman who I am today.
Yeah.
So I have been taking clothes like every morning. Like I've been trying to get up earlier, so I'm trying to get up at 5 so I can spend, get ready, do some stuff, get into the office early. But every morning I've been purging something.
Yeah.
And putting it in the bag and getting, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I left the other morning with 2 big bags, went over to St. Joseph's Church in Hanson, and they have St. Francis Assisi clothing bin in the back of their church parking lot. And if anyone from that area is listening right now, be very careful, because there was a fox that was just sort of wandering around at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, he owns the joint. Yeah, so be careful over there. But it feels good. So this is, if you're not ready to put your house on the market now, and maybe spring is the best time for you for whatever reason, do it now so you're not overwhelmed later. If you're planning on moving, you have to pack it all up or get rid of it at some point. You might as well just do it slowly.
Yeah. We have a loaded question from D. How do you handle buying and selling at the same time? That is definitely a question for an entire show.
Yeah.
So maybe, D, we will do that in the next couple weeks, a Saturday in the next couple of weeks of buying and selling at the same time. And of course we can incorporate, the time of the year. But yeah, that's definitely a loaded question. Of course, at the 5-minute mark here. Yeah. So not a caller, but a question. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we could do that one next week if you want. And then that just stays in line with timing. And then the week after that, we'll do the emotions of selling, selling a family home or your own home. It's emotional too for the kids. That's what I want to say. But D, that is a really, really hard question to answer with just limited time left. So my answer will be, it can be done.
Yeah.
And it's done with, and this is why I keep on going back to this. You need to hire a full-time real estate agent doing this full-time. You can't be, and again, I know all the people who are doing it part-time, and maybe they have, maybe they're a teacher or something else, whatever they are, or they have a full-time job in Boston working 9 to 5. You need a full-time agent. This is a career. This is a profession. This is what we do all day, every day, in between those hours when you're working. That's why it's important, because we're the ones that are following those timelines, watching those deadlines, and making sure that we can help you coordinate doing both at the same time. It will be stressful, but we take a lot of that stress away, and we help you manage through that so you're fully aware of what those steps are. So that will be our show next week, because Dee wanted it.
Yeah, because Dee wanted it. It's your show, Dee. It's funny that you said that the emotions of, adult children and everything being, so involved in the sale, because I actually ran into 2 of your clients last night who sold in Pembroke and moved down south. They're here for a wedding for the weekend, and they were telling me that their 2 adult children, I think they said 29 and 25, were so mad at them. Boys. Yes, so mad at them that they sold the house. And they said, we bought a house 4 years ago down south. They knew that it was happening for 4 years. And
I didn't know that they were in town.
Mad.
I want to connect with them. Yeah,
they were so mad. Yeah, so.
Yeah. It's interesting because that one of the boys had driven by the house one day, and I was like, how you feeling about, selling? He's like, I'm bitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I get it. Yeah.
Final thoughts before we talk about open houses for the office?
Yeah. So I just, again, I guess that what I just said was, truly what this all comes down to and what we talk about every week is, we are, this is our new phrase for the year is being, the knowledge broker. And don't think of us as, a real estate agent or a realtor and all of this stuff that's gone on. This is our career. And what we do is far more than just the fluff of, let me help you find your home dreams, or let me, it's not that. I'm sorry. I just can't even go down that path anymore. This is us working as true professionals that are we're looking at data, we're looking at stats, we're looking at the market trends, we're looking at mortgage rates, we're looking at having the resources for you when it comes to attorneys and home inspectors and everything that comes up. Title V inspections, we just had a big thing on one of our listings on that. Having all of those people there for you so you can make the best decisions for you. Our job is to educate you on what is going on in all of those areas, give you our best advice so we can help you through those processes. So that's how I want to end the show. And that's how, if you're thinking about selling your home and you want to talk to us more about that, you can give me a call, 781-294-4848. That's my cell phone, so you can call or text, 781-294-4848. What I also say is, even if you're thinking about doing it for the spring, call us in now. So that way there you can monitor and watch the market and to see if things are going to fluctuate. And we can tell you some of the things that maybe you should be thinking about doing before you come on the market. And you'll be surprised because it's probably not all that much.
Okay, open houses. Matt Mahoney has a new listing, 25 Reservoir Road, Unit C1 in Pembroke. He's doing an open house today from 9:30 to 11:30. That is on the market for $425. Sam Horton has a rental in Raynham, 517 Judson Street, Unit 3. He's doing an open house 10 to 11 today. That is on the market for $1,900 a month. The Grady team have a listing, 45 Cheryl Lane in Hanover. That is back on market due to buyer financing. So they are doing an open house tomorrow, 11 to 2. That is on the market for $899.9. And then, of course, Cushing Trails in Hanson, 10 to 12 every Saturday and Sunday. And Cochise Estates in West Bridgewater from 10 to 2 every Saturday and Sunday. That is Sharon and Mary's listings. All right.
Mm-hmm. And Faith is there for me today, so thank you to Faith Birmingham. She is their full-time agent at Boston Connect Real Estate. She's at Cushing Trails, so thanks, Faith.
Thanks, Faith. See you guys on Tuesday.
Bye, Mel. Bye.
I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you.